As a technical founder, I've often been faced with the idea of needing to stay ahead, stay abreast of everything that's going on. And what we're seeing here in the past, I don't know, 5, 10 years, is that the accelerated development of software applications has just been increasing. And so it's like every time you turn around, there's something else that's being brought into the market, some sort of AI application. You've got your current tools that you may be using, and they're saying, hey, now with AI, you can do this and that and this and that automatically. And the challenge that you run into is with so many changes, so many challenges, so many opportunities that present to themselves. How do you select? How do you determine what's going to be the best path for your organization? So what I want to do is I put together 5 things that go through my mind, 5 things that go through my planning when I'm thinking about how to implement a software solution. Now, the first thing that I need to do is I need to think about where am I going as a company? So I'm thinking kind of big picture. I'm thinking, okay, so I'm a consultant. I want to make sure that I can help companies take advantage of ways to implement growth programs into their organizations. Okay. And so in understanding that, I'm creating a framework for myself. So anything that's going to fall outside of that framework is just going to be peripheral. It's not stuff that I'm going to be thinking about. Now, within that window, I'm looking at the systems and processes that are required in order for me to deliver my services. And I really want to start at a very basic level. I don't want to start with, hey, this is my CRM system. I'm going to do this, that, and this and the other, but rather, okay, step one, customer experience. What does the customer experience need to look like? Step two, what do the deliverables need to look like? And what do we need to do in order to get there? And so having those in place give me another framework to get. So if you think in terms of software, you have software that can do everything in the world, but you don't need everything in the world. You need software that can address your specific issues. So we have systems and processes in place. What we want to do is we want to think about where the opportunities exist for us to be more efficient, meaning we can automate processes, we can skip steps, where it would not compromise on quality, and then we can be more effective, which means that using the same resources, we can get more value. So this might look like you're going to create a report, and the report is based on information that you're gathering from your customer. And there's external data, obviously. There's marketplace data, there's economic data, there's political data, et cetera, et cetera. There's other information that may not be practical to be able to gather within the price point we can charge the customer. Now, using something like an AI tool, Perplexity or ChatGPT or something like that, we can start pulling some of that data and push that data into our report. So our reports become effective. Now, at the same time, because we're able to do this quickly, our reports become more efficient in actually creating those reports. And so there's a plethora of things that we can do. But the key here is to look at it from the perspective of what am I trying to do? What are my systems and processes? What is my company trying to do altogether? Now, when we get to the place where we're actually looking at the software, what we do is we want to make sure that we're not over purchasing. And this has to do with efficiency and resources as well. So sometimes our vendors will come to us and say, hey, you know what? This particular software will do what you want. Plus it'll wake you up in the morning, it'll make breakfast, it'll make your bed, et cetera, et cetera. Perhaps you don't need that. Perhaps those things aren't really creating value for your organization. But what are the core tools that the software has to have in order for you to accomplish your goal without having a whole bunch of extra stuff? One of the clients that I work with really specializes in that. They build software for school systems that's specifically designed for what they need. It doesn't have bells and whistles. It doesn't do all these other things that their clients aren't using anyway. So we think in those terms, we find ourselves in a position where we're not overbuying, we're not trying to implement things that really aren't in our roadmap. Because that's the key. That's how we operate most effectively. Now, the other thing that I see happening a lot of times, and I've done a lot of software implementations, is the support. There have been companies that have put out software solutions that look like they're great, and they have absolutely awful support, and it makes it impossible to really get the value out of the solution that you should be able to get out of it. But at the same time, there are other solutions, there are other tools that have phenomenal support. Over the top support. I was working with someone just this morning and I'm saying, hey, I need to test out your software. I'm not ready to buy yet, blah, 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 blah. They didn't ask me a whole bunch of information. They said, hey, go to this link, set up this account, blah, blah, blah. This is through text message. They're answering me almost in real time. I'm texting them, they're texting me back. And this was an excellent, excellent, excellent support solution. This is what we need because our job is not to implement software solutions. Our job is not to troubleshoot software solutions. This happens, yes. Our team comes to us and says, hey, this thing is not working, but this is not our primary job. We need to be able to access the folks that can actually make stuff happen for us so that we're able to focus on the thing that we do best. So again, when thinking about implementing a new software solution while you're growing your company, you want to think in terms of where am I going strategically? What are the systems and processes we need to address? What specifically are we going to make more efficient, more effective? We don't want to overinvest. We want to invest in what we need, and we want to make sure that we have the support. So take a look at your current processes. Think through, where you are. Think through where the opportunities are. See if there's a match. See if this makes sense for you.